And welcome once again, everybody, to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. It is the glorious and highly regarded Victoria Day Speedfest weekend here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, featuring the Pirelli World Challenge Championships here at CTMP. Greg Creamer, along with Calvin Fish. Jeff Lepper is down at the front of the grid, so we're getting ready to go. Jeff?
Well, down here to start the SprintX round here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, and to give those command, NAFTA Motorsports Manager from Pirelli Tire North America, Orazio Mastraccio.
On behalf of Optima Batteries, Pirelli Tire, drivers, start your engines.
Well, there we go, Greg and Cal. It's going to be a great race here for SprintX at Canada.
Oh, that is a glorious sound indeed. This large field of 30-plus cars springing to life here. A number of different categories and classes. And the Cadillac ATS-V pace car makes the move away from the front of the grid, established here in pit lane, Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, and the field now follows suit behind the Cadillac ATS-V. A big thank you to Cadillac, of course, for their continued strong support of this championship. And it was interesting, a lot of developments that have unfolded, Cal, in qualifying, and we have to start with kind of a bummer of a note. The R-Ferry Motorsport Ferrari was absolutely flying, looked like they might lock up a pole at a home race. Everything looked to be going that way, and then a big incident.
Devastating. I mean, Alex Ribeiro was on a flyer. He just laid down the fastest lap of qualifying, a new track record, got into turn 3, just got out too wide, ran over the curb, heavy impact, tore up the left front of the monocoque there on the Ferrari. They will not see further action this weekend. What a blow to R-Ferry Motorsports. Their local track, of course, massive crowd they're going to have here in terms of their supporters this weekend. And for Alex in the championship, it really knocks the heart out of it, because to have 2-0 scores from this weekend will affect the SprintX championship, the overall championship. He is one unhappy boy here this morning.
Indeed, and it's truly unfortunate. Had they been able to repair the car, that track record and pole would have gone away, because there's a rule, if you cause a red flag, your fast lap is gone. As a result, the guy who dominated last year's sprint race here, that 58 Wright Motorsports Porsche in the hands of Patrick Long, he now gets the track record. He was underneath it as well, and will start P1 on the field. And they didn't exactly have the best of weekends at the doubleheader at VIR, he and Jörg Bergmeister, so this is big for them.
Yeah, they needed to rebound, and they've done it in the best possible way. I mean, track position is everything with these GT3 machines, particularly on a high-speed circuit like this. It's hard to follow through these high-speed corners, so getting to the point and obviously maintaining it over that first lap. But, yeah, great way to rebound. Jörg Bergmeister, his teammate in SprintX competition, got hit under yellow at VIR, basically curtailed their race, and it was a big blow to the points, because they'd assumed the points lead with Brent's problems on Saturday at VIR.
And the guy that'll start alongside was arguably the breakout star of the VIR weekend, local driver here in Canada, Daniel Morad, who held off Jerome Bleekemolen for his entire stint in identical equipment. He put in a wonderful lap as well, and will end up starting second in that De Vilbius Racing CRP Mercedes.
Well, when you look at young guys like Daniel Morad, he was one of these guys who had shown immense talent coming up through the ranks and disappeared, quite honestly. He looked like he's going to slip through the net, as we call it, but he's had this opportunity. He won at Daytona, the 24-hour race. That was big for him, and what a statement he made by holding off Jerome Bleekemolen, one of the fastest GT drivers in essentially an identical car. That, if we see Daniel Morad go on and do great things in 10 years' time, we may look back to that VIR weekend as really what turned the tide for him.
I think it's entirely possible. Starting third will be the number 3 Velocity Red Cadillac of Johnny O'Connell and Ricky Taylor. They, too, trying to rebound for a bit of a sketchy weekend at VIR. Alongside will be Adderley Fong and Vincent Abril in the Absolute Racing number 88 Bentley Continental GT3. That car was very quick here last year as well. I think it's a car that's in with a real shot here, especially when you look at Adderley's co-driver, 2 very good drivers.
Yeah, they've got a really good driver lineup there for these SprintX weekends. Imperatori will be joining Adderley Fong here, and he's really quick. Excuse me, Abril is with Adderley, and Imperatori's in the 77 machine, so they've got 2 really good co-drivers to take over from the primary guys. But the Bentley is well suited here. You said it right, Greg. It was very strong here last year. You can look at a lot of the cars in this field. The Cadillacs, I mean, Johnny O, this is a great track for him. We call him Mr. Sebring. He's also Mr. Motorsport Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, as we call it right now. Many victories over the year. So a lot of guys come to this racetrack thinking they're going to get a good result.
And I think another big story here is the car that will start 5th overall, fastest car, top qualifier in the Pro-Am category, the 75 AIM Autosport, always evolving Nissan GTR GT3, Frankie Montecalvo put down a great lap. And if you remember last year, Heitkotter and Davison were pretty quick here in that car. And this is an upgraded version.
Yeah, I spoke to the team just about an hour ago, and they said the new car is even better. So they're in great shape. They got the Pro-Am pole. Frankie's really getting to grips with this Nissan, and his teammate is pretty tasty as well. So those guys could have a good run. Local team knows the track well, good at setup information. And they got good straightaway speed, as we saw in the GTS race earlier today, Greg. This track has a dual personality, and you have to have speed up those back straightaway, the Andretti straightaway to turn 8.
You have to go all the way back to 10th to find the current combined overall points leader, Alvaro Parent. And, of course, his very, very quick co-driver, young Ben Barnicoat. So the McLaren struggling just a little bit here. In the Am category for this, it's the number 30 Momo NGT Motorsports Ferrari of Tyler McQuarrie and Enrique Cisneros, top qualifier there. In the GT Cup category, it was the Lamborghini Huracan Super Trofeo from Dream Racing, quickest. And then in the GTS categories, there's Am and there's Pro-Am. And in that one, it was the Am car. Ari Belo was having a great season, top of the order in that one. You saw the lights out on the Cadillac ATS-V pace car and safety car, which means we are going racing. And looking forward to that. Remember, folks, 60 minutes and not 50, 2 drivers per car. And if there are no yellows at the 25-minute into the race mark, a 10-minute pit window opens up. Mandatory driver change, and we'll get into that a little bit more once the race gets going. But we are looking forward to this one. They're about to head into the VP Racing Fuels acceleration zone, and Pat Long and Daniel Murad on the front row. They will take us down into a daunting series of corners that starts the lap here and frankly finishes it.
Pat will want to get the jump here, because if Daniel can hang tough around the outside through turn 1, he'll then have the inside line for turn 2. So he was brilliant at VIR. Look at him. He's trying to jockey for position here. If he can get on the power equally with Pat Long here, this could be a shootout into turn 1. Look at that, almost trading paint.
So close, and we're green. We are racing at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Long down to the inside, but as you said, Murad trying to stay put around the outside, realized, all right, if I stay there now, I'm going to run wide. That could be catastrophic. Wisely tucked right in. O'Connell slots into third.
Yeah, good start. You see the Bentley there of Fong. He's in the 4th position. Nice start for Brian Sellers.
Yes,
he's up to 5th around Montecalvo. But you could see Morad. He tried to hang it to the outside there, and he just got a little bobbler, had to lift momentarily, and that allowed Pat Long to get in the position. Now he's making it stick. He's really stretched the gap here down into turn 4.
I think it'll be interesting here. One of the things here in this cool weather, the Porsche with that engine back over the drive wheels, it tends to get good heat in those tires, I think a little bit quicker than some of these other cars. And Pat senses that. I think he's saying, let's go. I want to build a little bit of a gap here before everybody gets their tires up to temp and thus correct operating pressures.
What a sight that is. Beautiful to watch them come up the end ready straight away here. Pat Long leads here. Nice healthy gap. He just hit his marks here. He doesn't have to defend. That Cadillac has shown strong straightaway speed here. O'Connell up into the brake zone.
Talking to Johnny about the approach to this turn 8, he said it's a breathe on the brake, snick it down a gear, flat chat, right up until you hit the brakes into turn 9. This place, they said now in these cars, much like we used to see in the prototypes, is who's that? Oh, the 007, that's the TRG Racing Aston Martin in the pits, Drew Riggets and Chris Wilson.
Wilson had a nice qualifying run in this car as well.
So the crew
Some
working
kind of
on
leak, I think, because you can see him cleaning the windshield there.
But as Johnny, yeah, they were just talking about that. If you look now at a trace, a data trace that shows only throttle and brake, this place now in these cars also presents as 3 corners. It's that insane.
It's amazing. Just the downforce that these GT3 cars create is immense. Just look there at James in front of us. He's having a strong run in SprintX competition this year. Got Laurent Ventour driving with him this weekend. Then Matt Halliday is going to be taken over from Lime Rock on.
There's the number 31. The 3R Racing entry, that is the Ferrari. And, of course, Daniel Mancinelli put the car in pole in the first sprint race of the season as an AM-rated driver. And they realized, oh, we need to do a little bit more research. He got bumped up to pro. But the problem is that he's got a different now co-driver than he did when they won at VIR with Andrea Montermini. He's got a young Italian, Nicolo Chirot, who's driving along with him here. There's the 16 of Mike Shine, the team car. So Pat Long's race and overall leading entry. That is Mike Shine now leading in GTA. Was able to, actually he's right up behind the leader in GTA still, Frank Montecalvo in the Nissan.
Well, Mancinelli had a really good practice session. He led one of the time sheets. We see one of the Acura's jockey position down this front straightaway, and I think everyone got caught out a little bit when Riveros went off and crashed heavily yesterday, brought out the red flag. We lost a good chunk of qualifying. I think there were cars further back on the grid like Mancinelli who may have been a bit further up if they'd had time.
And keep your eye, I think, here as this race unfolds on that number 16 Wright Motorsport car, because last year when they showed up here, and that was the race where Pat Long joined Wright Motorsport, came out and had that dominant weekend, but what really got our attention was Mike Shine in a couple of the races was lapping within a second of Pat's times. Mike gets around this place real well.
Yeah, it was a really strong qualifying performance by him, up into the 7th spot for the starting grid here today by an AM driver, so that was sensational. Obviously, Frankie had the pole for Pro-Am, but nonetheless, Michael Shine is just so consistent, so strong. He's got Ian Halen as his co-driver. He's going to be really tough in that Porsche here, because the Pro-Am car gets a little bit different BOP to the regular Pro Porsche in this field.
And also, when we get to those pit windows, there is a mandatory 60-second from pit in to pit out for the Pro cars to get their driver change done. It's a mandatory 90-second, so there's a little bit more that the Pro-Am guys have to overcome. But a well-placed caution, we saw it play out almost at VIR, where we had a couple of Pro-Am cars in the hunt for an overall podium, so it is entirely possible. This car just not quite on pace here this weekend, and it seems like, this place you always think of is just cranking as much downforce as you can because of the corners, but you got to get out at 5 and you got to climb that hill with some power, and it's just a little bit of a problem getting this car to hit that compromise as well as some of these others, it seems.
Yeah, on this type of circuit, the McLaren does seem to struggle a little bit. Hard to put your finger on it. Last year it was like high-speed stability. It looks like they settled the car down a little bit with that. But certainly, talking to Alvaro, he said it's really just the acceleration off between the high-speed stuff. I feel I'm leaving a little bit on the table to some of the other brands. But nice qualifying run by Brian Sellers. I know since the start of this year he wanted to put one over on his teammate. Came so close within a couple of hundreds, I think it was, at VIR. And finally, this time did qualify our series champ.
And Frank Montecalvo right now, sitting in 6th, is starting to put some pressure on Brian Sellers for that top 5th spot. The Pro-Am driver pressuring for that top 5 as we go back to the front, and Pat Long at margin now up to 1.8 seconds. He is doing everything he can to try and build a little bit of a margin. He's got the gap back to Murad, who has opened up a similar margin to Johnny O'Connell, so that top 3 is kind of spread out a little bit.
Yeah, they're in a different league right now in terms of fast lap times. Pat Long has it right now at 1:16.6, got Murad at 1:16.7, Johnny at 1:17.3, and I can't see anyone else bar Cooper in the 17 range. Cooper starting from the back, having had problems, technical difficulties in qualifying. First was an electronic issue. They had to come to the pit lane, reset the electronics, then he had some kind of vibration in the braking area of the car, so he didn't set a time, and he started at the back of the pack with a lot of work to do, but has speed, run a 1:17.8.
Yeah, he's already worked his way up through about half the field, so a great opening few laps for Michael Cooper at this stage. They had one of those races at the end of it at VIR, and you're just shaking your head as they leave the pits for the outlap. The car stalls. They manage to get it back into the pits. He leaves to go racing as the field is completing the first lap, and at the end of it, they're top 3.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's a great performance.
It was.
And, great job by his teammate Jordan Taylor. He got the Taylor boys in, GM factory drivers, filling in for those extra drivers for the Cadillac squad. But big news just came out this morning. Jörg Bergmeister, who's been co-driving with Pat Long at VIR and this weekend, he's busy next weekend for the Lime Rock round. It's going to be Mark Lieb, who's our current WEC LMP1 world champion, current Le Mans winner overall. So we talk about this SprintX championship and the type of guys you're going to compete against. Well, you've got a world champion joining us next weekend.
It doesn't get much better than that, and I mean, just the depth of this field in terms of driving talent just makes you shake your head a little bit. Here's that battle we're talking about. Sellers down into Moss in the blue and black McLaren and the teal and black Nissan right on his 6th. And then here's the battle, the number 14 you talked about, James Sofronis, starting to feel pressure from the number 4 Magnus Audi in the hands of Pierre Caffer.
Yeah,
They're hungry too, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. Magnus boys thought they'd be strong here this weekend, but they just got here this week and suddenly realized, like, up this part of the straightaway, they just don't have it compared to some of the others, so it's been frustrating them a little bit. That's why they qualified so far back. They said the car's good, it feels good, we just don't have pace. So it's hard for the drivers and the engineers to work together. We see a Canadian in the field, Mark Wilkins, doing battle here with the second of the Bentleys. Acura's a little bit better here, but still needs some speed, Greg, to find the front end of the grid.
Yeah, they said they just struggle. The car is really pitch sensitive is what they told me, and just getting it to really work everywhere is the issue. Michael Cooper, well, that Vector Blue Cadillac seems to be working everywhere as he continues to march his way up through the field. He's now 13th, Cal, from the back of the pack, essentially. That's just a fabulous run.
He's got a good run here on the Momo machine. Look to go to the inside. Door is just cracked, and he takes it nicely. He's got speed, he's got balance in the Cadillac, and we're seeing that with Johnny O running third in the Velocity Red Cadillac, of course, right now.
That was a smart move by Tyler McCory, realizing that wasn't a battle for a class position and just let him go.
Half looking for the over-under there.
And Cooper trying to over-under them both.
Cronus hanging on. He realized he's got to hang on, just keep that car in a strong position. He's got an awesome teammate. Laurens Vanthoor is just sensationally quick in one of these Porsches. He'll handle the second half of this race. There you see the Cadillac. There's the straightaway speed I'm talking about. The Audi to the Caddy.
Take a look here as they come up and through, give you an idea of the difference. Cooper
tried to hang tough around the outside, but Caffey was having none of that.
Yeah, it was 165 by Cooper, 160 by Caffey.
Looking at the inside, a son who have taken opportunity here at Motorsport, Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. He wouldn't have done it many years ago, Greg. Now everyone thinks it's their favorite spot. Turn 10.
The only problem is that if you're in a multi-car scrap and you're in the middle of it, and you make that attempt into 10 and it goes wrong for you, you're just parked on the exit. So you got to be timing it just the right way here. But yeah, Cooper knows he's got pace, and he knows he doesn't want to waste time, doesn't he?
No, he can't afford to waste time. And the other thing that you got to factor in at some point in this race is really down to the team working with the driver. Find some space and lay down a fast lap time. Don't get bottled up with the pace of everyone else if you're quicker, because remember, fast lap today determines grid position for race 2. And that is on everyone's mind.
It's an interesting dynamic at St. Pete. J.D. Davison ended up, after a brilliant race, with some unbelievable passes to make it to the podium in the first race, started well back in the field in the second one. We talked to him, he said, I was so embroiled in battles I could never actually get a fast lap. And that's something that for everybody, I think, is really, as you said, paying attention to. Look at Cooper hunting here once again, and I'll tell you, that Momo NGT Ferrari in a straight line, that's the Ferrari 458 Italia GT3 car. It's plenty quick in a straight line.
He's got good speed, and we talked about Alex Riberas' problems in qualifying. Well, I think the goal at this point in time for Lime Rock next weekend, there's no time to get that primary chassis fixed. They may be switching to the 458 if it survives this weekend. The hand of Muzzo and Borchella. Great to see Terry in the championship as the pro in the Pro-Am combination there.
It sure is. Currently 8th in the Pro-Am category right now in the 013. Just a delight to see Terry walking through a paddock at World Challenge again. He's got a pretty good history with this. And every time Monte Carlo, and we're watching that pitch battle we've been following for this 5th spot between that number 6 McLaren of Brian Sellers from K-Pax Racing and the Nissan from A Motorsport and Always Evolving of Monte Carlo. Every time Monte Carlo gets to him, Brian is able to get a gap, but now we have got traffic in the mix. And this can have such a huge effect here.
Watch that Nissan. Frankie Montecarlo's got a run on Brian Sellers here as they come up the Andretti straightaway. He looks to the inside. Brian protects. Slides down the inside of the 09. Tight there with Frankie. Really tight indeed.
That's the 09.
Shine goes with them.
That's Jerry Kaufman in the Aston Martin Vantage from the Racers Group, able to get through. Now coming up on the back. Nice to see the Volt Lighting, Volt Racing GTS McLaren in the field here, making their first ever appearance in Pro World Challenge. Good battle here, by the way. This is the 017 of Adam Merzon and James Pesic, who is running with that Ford Mustang, having a good scratch. Right, Cal?
Yeah, Mustangs look really good here this weekend in GTS speed-wise. Look at the traffic here. Montecarlo's got to run. Sellers had to be patient there in traffic to clear the GMG machine. Heading down through turn 4. High speed stakes there. Nissan has a lot more front downforce this year than the old model, Greg.
And I'll tell you, watching them thread the needle through 3 and 4 is just heart in the throat stuff here, considering how fast they are going at this stage. There's a quick look at Adderley Fong, who's opened up a nice little margin here of some 3 seconds or so back to Brian Sellers. I think he got a little bit of a break in some traffic, but boy, Monte Carlo right there, and Shine starting to close it up a bit too.
Oh yeah, this is good stuff. Look at that. You see Perrin clearing some traffic. Okay, Cooper has got around Cathro, it looks like.
That should move him up into 11th. And look at this, just an aggressive move by Michael. Timed it to perfection. Now going to try and duck underneath the CrowdStrike Global Motorsports Group GTS McLaren of George Kurtz. Does that nice and clean. It looks like Capper may have had to breathe it for a minute.
He did.
Yeah.
Michael gaps it big time by that. You just can't overcommit, Greg. You really have to be careful around this place. It is so high speed, so treacherous if you get it wrong. Clip someone in these high speeds. It's really most of it is high speed, but you got turn 5 and turn 10, of course, slow things down a little bit. Otherwise, the average speed would be outrageous. You see Perrin at the bottom half of the top 10, sitting in 9th. Not a good day for our championship leader, with the guys right behind him in the points. Pat Long leading.
Well, and Cooper just turned a 1:19.4. Perrin's last lap, a 1:20.9. So Cooper definitely, Michael has the bit between his teeth here, and now he can see the back wing of that number 9 K-Pax McLaren, and he knows the point score here as well. He's coming.
He is, and we also know that Alvaro and Michael always seem to end up on the racetracks.
This is true.
A lot.
Well, in the sprint championship right now, Cooper is out front of Alvaro. In the overall championship, he's about 4 spots back. So this is big in terms of that overall season championship, which the full season sprint and SprintX guys certainly are going for.
Yeah, I mean, I relate it to the Tour de France, do you know what I mean, in terms of you want to win the yellow jersey, which is the overall championship, but certainly there's a lot at stake in terms of some teams just running the SprintX championship. Some guys will now be focused on maybe just the sprint championship. Someone like Alex Riberas, with the heart knocked out of his weekend and the championship year potentially, he may now just focus on the sprint weekends in terms of a title.
So essentially in the GT ranks this season, you've got 3 different championships you can chase essentially. And right now we have been watching, the speed of Michael Cooper coming up through the field, and the solid pace of Johnny O'Connell up at the front, sitting in 3rd. Right now, Jeff Lepper, things are looking pretty good for the Cadillac camp.
It is 3rd for O'Connell, like you said, but Michael Cooper, the problems yesterday, really not able to get a lap. Not a really problem, but he's on a roll today.
Yeah, we were really bummed when we got the car back out. We had 10 minutes left of the qualifying session. We were like, that's fine, we'll get out, we'll get a good lap. And then, of course, the red flag happened, so everyone got called in the end of the session early. But, that just makes our drivers more determined. He gets in behind the back of the field, his eyes are on the prize, and he's driving the best he can. So hopefully we'll see him get up in the top 5. That's what we're, hoping to see. And you never know how this race will go, especially with all the red flags that have been happening.
Of course, with Jordan Tater getting behind that wheel as well during the pit stop, that's going to be another exciting drive at the end of this race, too.
Oh, no question about it. Right now, you've got Cooper, a 2-time World Challenge champion, but in the touring car and GTS division, closing on the defending GT champion here, and he's well more than half that gap.
Yeah, well, he's taken about 3/4 of a second out of that gap on the last 2 laps, so that's why he's now right on Perrin's tail. That Cadillac has really been working well. Talking to some of the other teams, they said the Cadillac seems to have an extra pop when they do the gear shift here, so they've been tweaking on those electronics a little bit.
Well, that's the since with the GT3 platform and the homologation, you can't go through and modify a lot of other components, so you look at absolutely maximizing, or optimizing is the word that you tend to hear a lot, everything you possibly can on those cars, just in search of that 100th of a second.
Well, at this level, Greg, I mean, and the level is so high now in the SprintX Championship in terms of the teams, the manufacturers involved, and then you look at the co-drivers that have been brought in to assist the primary guys for the season. It's immense, and you've got to be ticking all of the boxes. So the teams are working hard. I mean, we talk about this pit stop that's going to be coming up here in about 7 minutes, potentially at the 35 minutes mark to go. You'll see that pit window open, so we're at 42, so another 7 minutes, and that pit stop window should open up. And then that's got to be done correctly. You can't afford to leave any time on the table. There's a certain 60-second delta you got to have for the Pro, 90-second for Pro-Am, and you want to cut that as close as you can. And talking to a lot of the teams, they said the Cadillac boys were cutting it real close, like within 2 or 3 tenths. They got something down in terms of how they're analyzing that data on pit lane and maximizing it to its true extent.
Well, it's also taking every, as you said, in terms of the driver change procedures itself, including the JT Bute concept of taking your seat insert and just stuffing it down the back of your overalls.
Yeah.
That saves you half a second, maybe.
It does.
It's just unbelievable what they've been doing here.
There's things to go wrong. I mean, there's
Yes.
a couple of teams had problematic driver changes. They're not in a routine yet. You can practice, but in the heat of the battle, it's a whole different pressure situation, and that can cost you valuable time. You got that 30-second, essentially, when you're parked in your pit box. It's about 25 seconds to drive down pit lanes. The team's got about 35 seconds to stop the car, get the driver change done, so it should be plenty of time. But if you get a seatbelt underneath you and stuff, it can suddenly eat into that clock really, really quickly.
Well, Mark Wilkins said that in the Acura at VIR, they said they practiced, had it down. It was fantastic. They came in for the pit stop during the race, and the one of the shoulder belts got hooked on his Hans device.
Yep.
That was it.
That's all it takes.
It happens. So.
And it's hard to communicate that as well.
And we are watching just a great run here continue as Frank Montecalvo hunting for an overall top 5, leading in the GTA category. And the driver that will be taking over for him, one of the most recent of the Nissan GT Academy winners, Jeff.
Yeah, Ricardo Sanchez here taking over for Frank Montecalvo, doing a great job actually battling for a top 5 overall. But he told him to take it easy because you still want to get in the car and have a battle for this Pro-Am win.
Yeah, we are P1 in class, P7 overall, so it's being backed off by the McLaren in front, so we are losing a bit of time, but it's good for our tires, so he's doing an excellent job. It's really hard to follow in this track because the car loses a lot of downforce when you're following someone and the straight is not long enough. So hopefully we do a perfect driver change and then I can keep the rhythm and then get the win for the team. I mean, the guys were always evolving, gave us an amazing car with the setup, and the Nissan GTR is really strong in this track, so he's actually making a gap against the Porsche behind us, so we will see where we end up at the end of the day.
Pit stops are going to be the matter. They're an interesting point there, Cal. When you get behind a car, he loses that aero grip.
Yeah, it really affects you right now. Frankie's feeling that probably through turn 2, right behind Brian Sellers and some other traffic in front of him. I used to have hair like Ricardo, Greg, when he was
Did you?
when I was about 3. I think.
We all did, yeah, exactly. Boy, working this traffic again, getting around the Lamborghini from Dream Racing, now coming up on the other of the GT Cup category cars, and I think it's Corey Friedman in the Porsche that he shares with Joe Toussaint, the Autometrics entry. And see, a nice play there, I think. You know, Sellers timed it to make sure he didn't get caught into Moss, didn't he?
Yeah, he tried to back Frankie up a little bit and just really focus on his own clean exit because he knows that Nissan has got monstrous speed up the straightaway.
Porsche's got legs in a straight line, too,
Yeah,
doesn't
it
it?
certainly does. Doesn't have all those downforce aids.
There is your leader, Pat Long, as we are now into 39 minutes to go, so essentially 4 minutes away from that pit window opening. It's important, though, to point out that what happens is when you get within a lap of that time happening, there will be a board and a flag displayed at the starter stand. Everybody has to pass that flag on track once before you can
Spin right in front of, that was in front of Morad, yeah, the
Oh,
O-Fog
boy.
goes around. I could hear the tire
Yeah.
squeal. I'm like, where is Daniel?
Yeah, that's George Kurtz. Looks like he may have been helped a little bit there. I see a big donut
Saw
right on
that.
his number panel, yeah.
Not sure if that was from that corner or that incident or not, but you could see it get really, Pat Long lost a lot of ground through turn 2, and I thought, okay, Morad can take advantage of that, but suddenly he had to slow down for the spinning car. Hopefully he wasn't the reason for the spin.
Yeah, and that's going to help O'Connell close up a little bit on the back of Murad as well. So at this stage, you know, no cautions. Looks like that window, of course I just jinxed it, no, but you know, hopefully that window opens on plan. You're up here in the top 3. What do? Do you pit right away?
Well, I think if you got good track position, you would. If you got poor track position, you can roll the dice a little bit longer. But I think if you've got good track position, all you're risking is they're going to keep the pit lane open. And unlike VIR, there's been a little switch up. You're going to keep the pit lane open if it goes yellow during that pit stop window. But you could still get behind a slow car that's slowed up because he sees full course yellow. Safety car could get dispatched. Suddenly it's going to stack you up. You don't want to get that lead a race.
Right.
So get in, get the pit stop done. If everyone then has to come in pit lane, you're going to reassume the lead. So, but everyone has a different game. We saw Nick Short roll the dice. He kept Morad out there a long time. And I'm like, this could backfire, this could backfire. There wasn't another caution. They put Dial in. He had a healthy lead because Morad was running in clean air. So different teams have different approaches.
There is the local favorite, Daniel Morad, down into Moss, chased by, now, you know, he's been a sports car racing legend in endurance racing, and now with, he had 4 straight Pirelli World Challenge GT championships. I think you have to classify Johnny O as a World Challenge legend as well now.
It's unbelievable, the passion that he has, the desire that he has to still compete at the top level. You know, and he went in the last round of the championship, Greg, last year, was still an outside chance at the drive for 5 and just come up a little bit short after a couple of big hits in the points earlier in the season. So he keeps digging, as does that team. But we're talking about strategy. I think certainly for the Pro-Am cars, if you've got a fast pro can get in, let them have more time to work with.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I think in the guys who got the amp starting today, they'll probably certainly come in as soon as that pit stop window opens. If you've got an equal driver pairing, you can sort of play with a strategy in both directions.
And for that to happen in the Pro-Am category, of course, one of the reasons that you have a Pro-Am oftentimes is the AM driver brings a little bit of funding to the team, and you hope that he understands the big picture deal and is willing to give up a little bit of that seat time to get the fast guy in to be able to maybe hold a trophy at the end of it. But I'll tell you, in this category, the AMs, quote unquote, they are just wicked quick here. You think Monte Calvo, Shine, Yufeng Lua, who now has gone around James Sofronis, picked up 3rd in the 78 Bentley from Absolute Racing. Sofronis in the 14 GMG Thermal Club portion, now 4th in class, and Mike Hedlund, and then 3rd of the K-Pax McLarens, the 98 entry he shares with Michael Lewis, 5th in the Pro-Am category right now as we're watching Johnny O.
I think we're going to cross the stripe here, still not having met that 25 minutes in mark on the clock, so I think it's going to be this lap, and then the next lap they will see the pit open board. So I think the earliest you're going to see is pit stops in 2 laps.
Let's see here.
He's already kind of going across the stripe right now. So
let's see what that flag stand, if they're showing that. Nope. Unfortunately, I can't tell if there's chatter from race control.
Okay, they're showing it saying by the time he gets to pit lane it will be 25 minutes. So I got to believe that was the board.
I believe it was the board.
Okay.
So
pit lane is open. What will everyone do? As I said, if it was me and I was calling the shots, if I got a healthy lead like O'Connell, I'd bring him in. You don't want to lose that margin that he has, because there's a big gap between O'Connell and Fong, like 9 seconds. And the only thing that can happen if there's a yellow is that's going to be a race. Look how close Morad is. Morad a lot closer now, just a 2.5 seconds back across the stripe. So that traffic has certainly played its part over the last 5 minutes of this race.
Well, and you wonder, did Morad have to get offline to avoid Kurtz? If he did, he picks up some of those marbles on the track, and then the tires, it takes a few laps for them to scrub clean once again, and that may have just been, part of the issue. But as you pointed out, actually Morad now, as you point, is even closer. So traffic, we always see it. It plays a huge role in this multi-class sports car racing. It does in endurance racing. When you turn it into this wickedly quick-paced sprint concept, it can determine outcomes in a big hurry.
It really can, and we're seeing Morad has hit the pit lane. So Nick Short on the other end of the stick now. Here comes Sellers. The only way this can backfire, Greg, is if you suddenly come out and you're hitting a big bundle of traffic.
Right.
You're now going to be on pit lane, essentially 60 seconds, plus the slow and speed up time, as when I got DL on pit lane getting in there, the number 2, Jeff.
Yeah, Ryan DL sliding himself into this Mercedes. The winner's last out at VIR. As you see, the only driver is there. The other driver has to get him, as one of the Ferraris is coming in right here behind us with Mancinelli. But Ryan Sellers back on pit lane as well in the K-Pax McLaren 650S as Print comes in as well. Barnacote out of the car, Print going in.
All right, watching this stop complete here.
It's high pressure. Changes can be made. Got him fired up. In essence, he should be stationary about 35 seconds. I'm understanding from the teams, it's about 24, 25 second pit lane delta, as we call it. The difference between being on the racetrack and the time it takes to come down pit lane.
And you see how tight these stalls can be, obviously, and he was able to sneak out around.
Oh, look at
31.
this.
This is a drag race.
Well, I don't quite understand this because Perrin came in a long way behind Sellers, so either something went amiss on that driver change or the 6 car was way more conservative in that 60-second mark because they nearly got jumped there by Barnicoat.
That's going to be interesting to see what that plan is here. And here is the 013 Mark Muzzo in and turning over to Terry Borchler, Jeff.
Borchler getting into that car, trying to get the belt set up for here. And remember, this is a Pro-Am, so they do have a longer pit delta. They can take their time here getting into the car, so they don't have to rush out within that 60-second delta, Cal.
Yeah, it's a 90-second scenario here for them. So it gives them a little bit more time to be able to deal with. Looking at some of these pit stop times here on the monitor and watching the battle here on the track. The interesting thing here, we did not see O'Connell pit, did we?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, because
Rentz was 61 seconds, Brian Sellers was 64, so they left a good 3 seconds on the table. 3.5 seconds, that's why they came out, because Sellers had about a 4-second lead, so it was now Johnny Kane behind the wheel, of course, and Barnicoat in the K-Pax, and we now see our leader in.
Yep, the Patrick
Morad's
Long
time was awful. 73 seconds for Morad. That's going to cost them track time when this thing cycles through and everyone's made their pit stop.
And here we go, Long into the pits. There comes Jörg Bergmeister off the wall, and Jeff is ready.
Yeah, Jörg Bergmeister made that big leap. He's so tall, it was like 2 steps to get over to the car there as Patrick Long jumps out, going to assist him, pulls a pad out, throws it over there as they try to get the belts hooked up. They got to get the radios hooked up. There's a water bottle. There's a lot to do in that 60-second time. It may seem like an eternity, but when you're doing one of these driver changes, it takes forever.
Yeah, well, I tell you what didn't take forever is the Pappas to Bleekemolen drive change. I see 89 seconds flat. That needed to be 90. That's a problem.
That is a big problem. That is a
Cut
drive.
it too tight. That will be a problem if
There's that car right there. Yeah. Look, Barnicoat flashing the lights at Johnny Kane. Johnny Kane, a few years of experience on young Ben Barnicoat. I'm sure he's looked in the mirrors going, right, lad, calm it down now.
For both these guys coming here, it is an eye-opener when you come to Canadian Tire Motorsports Park for the very first time.
Now Johnny comes in, but tell you what, I think he got held up in that traffic a little bit. He might lose some time here.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see how this cycles through when everyone's made that stop. You've got to make it within the next 5 minutes, 25 to 35 minutes into this race distance, as we're seeing the clock count down, of course, on your screen. The Cadillac boys supposedly are cutting it tighter than anyone.
There's Johnny O, Ricky Taylor off the wall. I wonder if they didn't leave Johnny out maybe 1 lap too long because he got caught up in some traffic as he was making his run into the pits. Jeff?
Yeah, saw a few shaking heads down here just about that object. When the car came to a stop, though, the stopwatch started. They get this down to the millisecond in Cadillac. Everything is planned, so I got to think they have a strategy for leaving Johnny O'Connell out no matter what we can see on TV. They know what they're doing down here at Pratt Miller and Cadillac Racing.
That they do. This is a team that has executed on so many different levels to huge success in endurance racing and in sprint racing.
See what it is. Minute 101, 102.1. So yeah, it was tight, but not as tight as we'd seen. But another red one on the board, Greg.
Yep.
Frankie Montecalvo and Ricardo Sanchez, 129.6. They have 4/10 under the minimum delta. They're going to get dinged.
And they have been pretty slow, and there's an off. It's Parent, or Barnicoat.
Wow, that's
taken over
10.
from Parent. Yep. Yellow flag's flying. Here's a look at it.
Take a look. Oh, he gets to the inside, and he just gets turned there. Right.
That's Chirot, I think. Nicolas Chirot.
Just a stack up there in traffic. I don't think it was intentional. Just suddenly everything came to a halt at the apex. Our championship leader has got damage. Look, the rear wing is broken on the left rear stay. You can see it just floating in the wind there, the main plane.
Yep, and the left front, significant damage there as well. It did the double impact.
See there, Brian Sellers and Alvaro Parent just discussing the start of this race. I wonder if Alvaro even realizes right now that Barnicoat's out.
Well,
we talked about SprintX and talk about the pit window. What happened? We've had a yellow interrupt both of these weekends now.
That's a very good point, and you know, the fact is that we're still in that pit window. So there's
another look at it. Barnicoat to the inside, and Chirot just got a little bit too aggressive there, tried to dive down and just didn't time it. Just too impatient, I feel.
Well, I don't think he accounted for the fact that that tightened radius that Barnicoat had, he was going to have to slow a little bit more than he normally does, and just tagged him.
Yeah, I've got a feeling the steward's going to have a good look at that one.
Yeah, I suspect so here. It looks like we are going to, have a full course caution, obviously. You've got not a lot of runoff over there in turn 10 at this point, as Parent having an animated discussion down in pit lane. And in fact, yes, the main safety car has now come out and picked up the field here. And at a certain point, you just have to pick up the first car you can get to in these situations, which is that 007 Aston Martin.
Everyone has made their mandatory pit stop, Greg. Everyone has been in the pits at least once. Ari has been in twice. The 019 car had an earlier stop, so.
But the interesting thing here is those two GT-Am cars, or Pro-Am cars, I should say more accurately, whose times, and they were two of the front runners, whose times may be problematic. The Cadillac is in. Cooper is out, Jeff.
We talk about the superb drive that Michael Cooper put on in this Cadillac ATS VR. He jumps out. Jordan Taylor coming in. They're putting the belts on there. They still want to make that 60-second time, but under the yellow here, perfect scenario for Michael Cooper. Superb drive for this Cadillac racing team.
This is awesome. Because
it timed out beautifully, doesn't it?
It's going to be giving the lead, I believe.
And if they time this stop correctly, yeah, they're going to have the lead. Got in, stayed out, got in under caution.
Yeah, that was awesome.
They've done it again.
They've done it again. You got that spot on, and they just rolled the dice the other way. They didn't have good track position, so they rolled the dice and kept him out there, and they just timed out perfectly. Everyone had hit pit lane, and then he got to do it where the field is going slow, so you're not getting caught as quickly by guys being on the green flag running.
Here's a look at the 58 of Long. And now first up behind the safety car at this stage.
Well, this is an interesting scenario because if they let the 8 car just go, he's going to basically gain 3/4 of a lap on everyone.
Yeah, that's and pretty much game over, exactly. And at this stage, wow, I mean, they have executed it. Cooper had an absolutely stunning drive, and then just a little bit of fortune. But when that happens, the strategists look at the scenario and go, let's make this work. And they may have. And there is a man who is no doubt absolutely gutted, Cal.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
He truly
is.
He's
super calm and takes everything in his stride. But this is not the sort of look that we want to see. Tough qualifying session. You get buried in the pack. The competition is so tough. You're not just going to drive through everyone. Yeah. And that's what you can see. One of the best in the business is tough to make ground.
Well, and it's one of those deals. It's one thing if your co-driver, just wrecks it on his own. That's bad enough. But when you're just taken out, obviously that's a different deal. And it was just, I think, a young driver coming in who was having a good run and just kind of misread things in front.
Well, he hasn't raced here before, Greg, and he just got into that situation, went with Alvaro, and he's on the brakes hard, but just, sorry, not into Alvaro, into his teammate Ben Barnicoat, turns him around. And, this is one of the problems when you've got a championship like this. It's affecting one of the regular season guys.
Exactly.
A season because, the kid made a mistake, pure and simple.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what it comes down to. And that potential can happen to anybody here. Now, it'll be interesting to see what, if anything, is done with the 31 car once we go back to green. Obviously, if there are any penalties to be assessed, they always assess them under a green flag condition, and to see what happens with those two Pro-Am cars.
That's tough for the 31 car because they're very much in the mix. So it's not just affected Parent's overall championship and their SprintX run as well, but also Mancinelli's had a great season so far.
Yeah, Mancinelli third in the combined overall championship at this point, leading in the sprint category. So
that pit stop, we talked about the delta. I think it was like 73 seconds or something on the number 2 car. That means from tight to the leader, Morad, when they now stack up again, Dial's in 5th position. So they left a huge chunk there, 10 seconds plus basically. So something I would think would have had to have gone adrift with the driver change, had to have lost that much time. Patlong's like, I'm the leader, right? And they're like, no, there's a Jordan Taylor about half a mile behind you who's on the next lap of this race.
Well, we're getting reports from the Cadillac camp that they saw the Wright Motorsports, one of the drivers, throw the seat insert over the wall, and so I don't know. You know, to be honest with you, in terms of rule, I don't know if there's something that prevents that, but there's a lot of chatter of complaining right now from the Cadillac pits at this stage. So interesting stuff. What's unfolding here? So now that we've pretty much completed the lap, still under caution here. It shows the number 8 of Jordan Taylor leading, and by a bunch at this stage, 2 minutes and 18 seconds. That's essentially a lap under caution. That's how big it is. Then the number 58 in the hands now of Jörg Bergmeister. Then the number 3 Cadillac of Ricky Taylor sitting in 3rd. The 88 Bentley, Vincent de Bril in 4th. And the number 2 De Vilbius CRP Mercedes of Ryan Dial sitting in the 5th spot. In 6th, the McLaren, number 6, now in the hands of Johnny Kane. 7th, the 31 Ferrari, Nicolo Chiraud. In 8th, Pierre Caffer, he would have stepped out, and it is indeed Spencer Pumpelly now up and into the number 4. In 9th, the 93, now in the hands of Mark Wilkins. The Acura from real time and completing the top 10. Jan Halen in the 16, which is now leading. That is the Wright Motorsport Porsche leading in GTA, and we're getting reports we're going green this time.
Well, in other forms of competition, sometimes they do a wave by if you're trapped behind the safety car and the leader in your class. They're not doing it here, of course, so that means that this 8 car, and this is going to be a different scenario for Jordan Taylor. It's like, weave your way through traffic, take zero risks. You got 20 seconds to burn off that clock, and the victory will be yours, because he has essentially got about a 2-mile lead.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you know, when you're lapping, let's say at a 117. So your lead safely is well over a minute, so you can be conservative when you're working traffic and give up a second or two if you need to. And, of course, for everybody that is looking at the scoring and recognizing this scenario, as you said, everybody's going, oh, come on, let's do a wave by. But you have to wave by essentially the entire field at this stage.
Bergmeister has had success here before.
Oh boy, hasn't he?
On this competition. I'm sure he was thinking he was going to be pushing for a victory, unless something bizarre happens.
And it did. All right, the Cadillac ATS-V pace and safety vehicle makes its move away. And when we get up into turn number 9, we'll be in the VP Racing Fuels acceleration zone. And at that point, once you're in that zone, the car that's leading you into it can roll into, can't do a brake check and go, but can roll into the throttle whenever they want. And he's got a Pro-Am car behind him, Jörg does, in Enrique Cisneros, so he's got a little bit of breathing room. Johnny O immediately looks to the inside, and he's not close enough to attack Enrique Cisneros in the Ferrari down into turn 1. And Jörg is just going to drop the hammer here.
Yeah, he's going to try and make hay while he can. Ricky Taylor now got to get into the rhythm, of course. All of these co-drivers now just trying to find their feet, so to speak, in terms of what the track grip has given them. There you see DL very much in the middle of the pack, trying to put the pressure on Abril. Just taking it from Adderley Fong, who did a great opening stanza in the Bentley. Kind of his home track, I guess, for Adderley Fong. He's born in Vancouver, so...
That's true. That's a good point.
Canadian, I guess.
Born in Vancouver, resides in Hong Kong. He's truly an international lad. There's a look at that number 88. And Adderley had a very solid run here last year.
See what DL can do. Obviously got a really quick car. That Merc has been superb.
And right behind DL is now that 54 Pro-Am Black Swan Racing Mercedes-AMG GT3 in the hands of Jerome Bleekemolen, who is rather quick as well.
Yeah, not in the same class and not on the same lap. So if Bleekemolen starts to put the pressure on Ryan Dial, he can certainly let him go. I mean, the top thing on Bleekemolen's agenda will be to get a fast lap. He did that at VIR.
Right.
Sat on the pole for day 2.
That Audi just going out of the bottom of the frame. Just want to give a shout out. He's another local driver, David Ostella, in the number 23 M1 GT Racing Audi. He's sharing this weekend with James Dason. And of course, David, a former Canadian Porsche GT3 Cup champion. So having a nice run up into the top 10 in the Pro-Am category. But feeling the pressure right now from Adderley Fong, who wants through. And part of the reason is that he's got some pretty severe pressure coming up behind him.
Yeah, Brill wants to get by that car, so he doesn't lose position to Dial right now. Just to reiterate, everyone's done their mandatory driver change. The pit stop window was closed, so if you hadn't done it now, you'd be suffering a penalty as well. So it's the secondary drivers now in. Typically, most of the guys, other than Dial, well, they qualified Morad because of his track knowledge and maybe switching up the strategy a little bit. Typically, they're starting the full season guy in qualifying and then starting race one.
By the way, just heard on the radio that now that they have a complete lap back up to speed, the black flags will be going out for the 7.5 and the 5.4.
They just cut it, trimmed it too tight. We saw several, we see Bleekemolen dive in. This may actually be good for him. He could get out in clean air and then be able to go after that fast lap, which would be his priority. Have to wait and see on that 31 machine if he does get a penalty handed his way for that contact in turn 10 with the 9 McLaren. Here
comes the 75. Ricardo Sanchez behind the wheel, and these are just drive-throughs. It's not a stop and hold of any sort.
Talked to Motorsport, and their engineering department said we're nervous about that being in our hands in terms of making that call and timing it. They have an indicator in the cockpit, and the guy can see the line coming up. So if he's too tight, you could effectively breathe on the brake pedal a little bit to try and adjust if you think you're going to shortcut that time. But he obviously didn't get it quite right.
Yeah, and the series, they have absolute new, I don't know, visual aids is the right word, but very, very clear signboards where that zone starts and where it ends. And to make sure everything is clear for all of the categories. And right now, Jörg Bergmeister, as we had talked about, Cal, sensing the opportunity to open up a huge margin in second. That's the key here.
Yeah, and fast lap too. I think Pat Lam had it anyway, but I think Bergmeister just went a little bit quicker on this clean air that he's got right now. Didn't change tires, might have just done the tire pressure adjustment. Didn't quite catch that. But lighter fuel load, and with these Pirelli P0s, testimony to how strong they are in terms of running fast laps in the second half of the stint here. A lot of that comes down, and when Pat Long's got the lead, yeah, you want to lay down a fast lap, but you don't want to burn the tires down to the point suddenly there is a yellow like we saw. There's a stack up, and you're giving it to your teammate, and the tires like melting on the rims,
Ooh, big move there. That's the number 44. That's the team Magnus Audi, I think, and it's a Seafried.
Oh, sorry, it's the other guy.
It's the number 4, that just dove underneath Terry Borchler in the R-Ferry Motorsport Ferrari. Hounding him right now is the 93. It's the Acura NSX.
Wilkins had a really nice first stint, made up about 5 or 6 positions, got around Eversley. Now it's Peter Cox behind the wheel. He's coming under pressure from Tom Dyer. Ryan Eversley has been pretty strong in his praise of his new teammate Tom Dyer, but look at the pressure he's feeling from behind from the 16 car. Yeah, Nayland. That is tough. Remember, those guys were on pit lane 30 seconds longer in the Pro-Am class, so he lost some track position now. Now he's trying to fight his way through.
Well, I think that's a good point. The ultra frustrating thing, I think, here for Jerome Bleekemolen and also for Ricardo Sanchez as the 31 car is in the pit lane, and I'm guessing this will also be a drive-through. But those are Pro-Am cars, but with that caution, they had a tremendous opportunity if they hadn't shorted those stops to now be battling for an overall very, very strong finish. So it's just doubly painful in a way.
Well, it's a learning process.
Yeah,
we saw that at VIR in the first round of the SprintX Championship, and we're seeing it a little bit here today. Certainly not so many cars getting dinged in terms of being underneath that minimum pit lane delta, but still mistakes have happened. And for this team, the DeVilbiss team, something went amiss there. I'm not sure whether it was a driver change or an issue with the clock, but either way, they gave up 10 seconds plus on what everyone else was given as a margin.
I just love seeing all these lights flashing as they work their way down the long back stretch here. By the way, 7th in the Pro-Am category right now. Preston Calvert in the 77 Calvert Dynamics Global Motorsports Group Porsche had stopped, turned it over to Alec Udell. And Preston had put in, I think.
Move. Oh, that was late. That's Pompelli, I believe.
You're right.
Trying to look to the inside of Johnny Kane. It's becoming an overtaking opportunity. Turn 10. Everyone wants a piece of that now. They've seen it happen. No one used to go there. Now everyone has a go.
Very rare, yeah. And I'll tell you what, that was tremendous track awareness by two very talented drivers, because Johnny Kane realized he was coming up, opened the wheel a little bit. Spencer realized this isn't going to work and got out of it and didn't try and force the issue. That's how you race. I mean, with respect and good aggression and everything, but a big picture understanding there. But anyway, what I wanted to say was Calvert, just to give him a shout out, had one of his best, I think his best qualifying run we've ever seen, and had a car that was in great shape and has turned it over now to Alec Udell, who we know is an absolutely superb talent, and now up into 7th in the Pro-Am category. But fun watching here. Now we're looking. We've been speculating a little bit, Cal, about what may have happened in that pit stop for the number 2 Mercedes. Jeff, have you heard anything in pit lane?
Well, sitting down there watching that DeVilbiss Mercedes do its pit stop, the brand new number boards that you see, the digital ones on the side of these cars, it actually counts up when it goes past that 60-second time, and I'm watching it go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 seconds up, and they're still holding him. For some reason, there was a miscalculation from that team and got Ryan Dial out a little bit later. What Cal said, that minute 10-second time.
Yeah, it was hugely costly at this stage.
I think everyone's being a bit gun shy in terms of don't cut it too close, give yourself 2 or 3 seconds, but that was 12, 13 seconds as I recall. So
tell you what, David Estella's putting in a really nice drive right here. We, Adderley Fong and Ryan Dial behind him, and they have not yet been able to find a way by that M1 GT.
Knows this track really well.
Sure does.
The track knowledge anywhere is good, but around this place, it is something special to have many miles around here.
And you know what? I think you were right. I think I'd said it was Seafried, and I saw a shadow on that 4, and it looked like a 44, but that definitely is the 4.
Yeah, Pompelli, he's got around Kane. Yeah. Got around Kane and is now going after Dial.
Here's the second of the Acura NSX machines, and there is your race leader. 51.7 seconds clear of second spot right now is Cooper.
He's coming up to lap these guys, not just because of his speed. It's through the strategy and the way things played out with that yellow coming out during the pit stop window.
Here's a look at the number 14 now in the hands of Lorenz Vantour. As Vantour has moved up, and looks like he was able to sneak around Jan Halen, and that's for a position change in the GT-Am or Pro-Am category, if you will. So Vantour is on the move, and he is one, as you said, Cal, wickedly quick driver. And so it's Jordan Taylor leading in the 8 Cadillac. Long has turned over to Bergmeister in the 58 Porsche, and then Ricky Taylor in the number 3 Cadillac. That's your top 3. Vincent Abril in the 88 Bentley in 4th, and Dial now in the number 2 Mercedes, 5th.
Well, we've seen both Taylor boys on the podium, but normally as together.
As in the same car. As in teammates in the same car.
So they've done a lot of great things, but I'm not sure if they've shared podiums in different cars.
Well, and obviously, both of the lads, they don't get a lot of time in GT cars, but Jordan driving with the Corvette team at Le Mans once again, and Ricky has driven in a Corvette at Le Mans in the GT-Am category.
Pelly is throwing that thing around. Wow, this is a dynamite drive by Spencer Pompelli here. He's going to have a new teammate for next weekend. A lot of these European lads are busy at 24 hours at Nürburgring, so Cava's not going to be here. Jörg Bergmeister's not going to be here, as we mentioned. Mark Lieb is going to be taking over in the 58 car. Flashing the lights there.
I love it. Yeah. Every time you add another 2 flashes, that's a frustration meter. Yeah. That's what that is. But the fact of the matter is, it doesn't look like Estella's holding him up significantly.
Yeah, looking at Estella's fastest lap, an 18.8, and fastest lap, well, Fong did a 17.4 early, so there is
Right.
potential another second on the board as we see the Aston running very slowly. They're up the Andretti straightaway off to driver's right. But that Audi has just got stretch up the straightaway.
It really
Look at that.
launches. Well, I was just watching how it just hooks up coming out of Moss.
Yeah.
It really, really is getting the power down incredibly well.
And it keeps going.
Right, yeah, and obviously the frustrating thing here is that car, relative to this battle here, is they're losing ground to Long and Ricky Taylor, the Alcaffer or Pumpelly battle right now at this stage. You know, he's a couple laps down to those guys.
Yeah.
So
This is what's allowed Pumpelly, I think, to join this group, because he's been able to run his true potential, and these other guys are being stymied a little bit.
So you wonder at what point, you know, if the team might say, look, you know,
Like
this,
right
there
now,
we
I think
go.
is the point.
Yeah.
The Al tries to go with him,
And I think
Costello just needs to let the pack go.
I think he got the memo.
Yeah. Does Kane get by as well? No, he doesn't. So he splits that. It's going to hurt Johnny Kane's progress. And number 6, K-Pax McLaren.
Oh, look at Spencer. You are absolutely right. He is. This is about as aggressive as I've seen Spencer.
Well, we had a disrupted practice session yesterday, and then with Caffer doing the qualifying, he was walking around yesterday, didn't know what to do with himself. He said, I got here early, I've done about 2 laps, and now I've got nothing to do all day. So that's all part of the deal, though. That's part of the makeup of these weekends, Greg. The drivers have to stay calm. You're not getting the same sort of seat times if you're just in true sprint form. You've got to manage that.
Yes.
I think that's something, a learning curve for these drivers.
Spencer up into turn 8, looked to the inside, Dial, and I think, you know, can reasonably say, well, yes, I was covering him a little bit, but I was turning into 8 anyway. I just turned in a little earlier. But Spencer sensing a little bit of opportunity here. And now this group, once they've been unleashed, they have very quickly run down and caught the number 30 Momo NGT Ferrari of Enrique Cisneros that currently is running in the lead in the AM category. And a comfortable one after the problems for the 007 Aston Martin.
See Jordan Taylor there just letting the 31 go. And that's really just great experience. Great experience from the team, just telling Jordan the scenario. 31 cars in a hurry, he's trying to come back from a penalty. Just let him go. You got plenty of time, plenty of a gap. Back to Jörg Bergmeister, who runs second right now, but a long way back down the road.
Yeah, the 31 currently 12th in the overall run order. Here's a look at the 013 right in front, the 2 Ferraris, 2 different teams, of course, running in lockstep. Then our leader. There is Jörg Bergmeister.
He's got word that the 2 team, the 4 team is saying the 2 car is blocking. So Pumpelly's obviously been telling his team on the radio, hey, every time I try and make a move, Ryan's kind of blocking me a little bit. They'll observe that.
Absolutely.
Certainly can make that in the first move, can't react.
Interesting here, just looking at it. Bergmeister's last lap was 17.4. Jordan Taylor's 20.
Yep.
Like, we've got this. I'm not going to do anything that could throw any kind of level of risk in this as we are inside the final 5 minutes.
Look at this.
What a scrum.
Pack. Tell you what, it's been a good day for the 93 car. Great to see one of those Acuras out there running in the 8th position with Peter Cox now behind the wheel. He raced there back in 2007, I think it was, Greg, but coming back here, he said, wow, he had to readjust, and took him a little bit of a while to get up to speed. He's done a great job here in the race after that opening stint from Wilkins.
Spencer's got a great run once again.
Yeah.
And Dial, as he is certainly allowed to do.
Spencer's going to try and take advantage of this traffic if he can. Yeah, Dial's been balked a little bit. Watch Spencer Pumpelly. He's going to make a dive here. Oh, no, it didn't work out for him.
Ooh, but Dial floated wide.
Oh,
Spencer
here
cuts
comes Spencer.
underneath. He's got the run, Cal.
Beautifully timed. If he can get down to the inside, he's going to force the issue. Nice job, Spencer Pumpelly. I thought the Mustang had basically taken the opportunity away, and then it opened up again, and he jumped on it.
Yep, looks like Dial in trying to hustle by that Mustang just a little hot into 10. Spencer read it to perfection.
He did. That was sweet.
That was awesome as we're at 3 minutes.
Great drive by Spencer Pumpelly here.
He's
team will
he's
be
been on fire
fired up.
lately.
He really does. He's so solid. He just
Yeah.
gets in and slight light switch, you just turn him on.
Yeah, coming off of a brilliant win in the ST category at Circuit. Look at this.
That's a big stack up there. Cox Vantour right behind him.
Vantour, Jan Halen attacking.
Woo!
Michael Lewis in that mix. Look at Udell, cuts to the inside, tries a little different line.
I'll tell you what, this has the potential to get ugly here. I'll tell you what, Jan Halen and Florence Vantour are going to be putting heaps of pressure here on Peter Cox here.
And again, Cox that is a pro program. Behind him, Vantour and Halen are in Pro-Am cars. So they've got their own fierce little battle. And look at Alec Udell. He, I think, has just made up 2 spots running that different line up that back straight. He's attacking on Headland right now. Or on Lewis right now. Yeah, he went now up into 6th, from 8th to 6th. Well, talk about reading
awesome
traffic.
Battles all the way through. Looking up ahead, I'm trying to see if Cox has hung on to that lead. Or that position, should I say, in front of those 2 Porsches. Because they were even, Alec really wide there. This team is coming back from a lot of work. They had that accident at VIR to retub the car again. Only 11 hours on that brand new chassis. Just a heartbreak for that team and a monstrous amount of work, but they've done a great job.
There is Yufeng Lua would have turned over to Alexandre Imperatore in the 78, currently 3rd in the Pro-Am category behind.
Oh, look at this.
Yep.
Side by side. Here comes Vantour. He's going to try and squeeze Peter Cox there as they get up, and Jan Halen wants in on this action as well. Cox to the inside. Vantour's going to have the inside. First time here at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. He makes the move.
And did it loosen up Cox enough for look at Halen?
Just under a minute left on the board. This will be the last lap, I think. I'm not sure. No, I'm not sure where Jordan Taylor is.
Yeah, find out where Jordan is at this stage.
It's all jumbled. I just suddenly remembered it's not the Bergmeister car we're focused on here. Jordan Taylor is half a lap ahead here.
Yeah, exactly. He's down the road just a bit at this stage. So we are on the white flag lap. We are
Jordan
on
Taylor,
the white flag lap.
So it's not these guys, because Taylor's
yet.
behind these guys track position-wise. That's why it gets a bit confusing with that massive lead for Jordan Taylor. So these guys have got a lap and a half to battle it out. Jordan Taylor should have about half a lap.
Look how quickly Udell ran them back down again. Got to the back of Michael Lewis. He was right behind the number 43 of Tom Dyer. That's the team Acura NSX.
He's our leader.
GT3, there he is.
Half a lap to go coming out of Moss. Whereas those other battles we saw can play out for another full lap. Long down to 0.
You know, and
I'll tell you what, for some of these teams, Greg, talking to some of the, particularly the Clown
fuel
squad, they were worried about fuel a little bit. They had fuel save at VIR. Obviously, we had the yellow, so they'd got a bit of save there, so maybe they'd be okay.
Here we go, Jordan Taylor in the Vector Blue Cadillac ATS-VR. A brilliant opening stint by Michael Cooper, an equally strong one for JT. And Cadillac wins at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. There is Michael Cooper, and he is absolutely elated as he watches Jordan Taylor, JT, come by and pick up a dominant win. And some people will say, well, yeah, they got the gift. You know what? You make your luck. And they gambled, and then they got the break and played it to perfection.
Had bad luck in qualifying. It put Michael Cooper at the very back of the pack. He stormed through the field, and then they rolled the dice there, gambled, and paid off for them with that caution under the pit stop window.
There is Vantour in the 14 Global Motorsports Group. Porsche leading in the Pro-Am category.
Pumpelly, he wants another spot. Will he make a move into turn 10? What does Vincent Abril notice this weekend? There's Bergmeister. He crosses the stripe in second.
Great run for them. Here we go to the line, and Abril will hang on to 4th over Spencer Pumpelly. But what a race Spencer Pumpelly put on. Just phenomenal stuff for the driver from Atlanta, Georgia. 6 will be Ryan Dial.
I'll be disappointed with that. That race
so.
got away from them a little bit in terms of the pit stop sequence and then the pace and racing there the last 10 minutes here.
Well, you look at the margin here. I mean, they easily would have been in a battle for the podium had they not had that big stumble on the pit stop.
Bleekemolen got fast lap.
Right? Boy, he is
16-4.
He's an animal at doing that.
Yeah.
He just gets it.
He'll be on the pole. Bergmeister, I think, will start alongside him tomorrow. I think the next fast lap is a 16.6 by the 58 car. The 3 car in the 16 is Jordan Taylor, 17 flat. Dial out of 16.7. That might have been more out earlier in the race.
In Pro-Am, the pairing of Michael Shine and Jan Halen in the 16 Wright Motorsport Porsche. Second, third, the number 78 Absolute Racing Bentley, Yufeng Leroy and Alexandre Imperatore. Take third. Fourth, the 44 Magnus Audi of Marco Seefried, started by John Potter. And in fifth, the number 98 Mike Hedlund and Michael Lewis in the K-Pax McLaren. Sixth, Alec Udell, started by Preston Calvert in the 77. In the 7th spot, nice day, considering it was a rather late entry for Mark Muzzo and Terry Borchella right up into the 7th spot.
That's cool.
In the R Ferry car at their home event, the 013. Bleekemolen and Pappas with a penalty, remember, a drive-through penalty, end up in the 8th spot. Sanchez and Monicalvo with a penalty end up in 9th and completing the top 10. Ostella and Dayson in the 23 Audi. Winning a GT Cup, it is the number 55 Lamborghini Super Trofeo Huracan, Alessandro Bressan and Yuki Hattori. Second in the GT Cup, but winning in AMM is Joe Toussaint and Corey Friedman. Winning in the GTS category, and it was that late entry, that new entry, the number 40 Mustang that is being worked on and developed to be the new GT4 homologated Mustang. Pesic and Ernie Francis bringing that car home as the winner in the GTS category. But the field has made its way down into pit lane, and Jeff Lepper is waiting to talk to our winners.
Well, Michael Cooper, superb drive from you to put yourself in that position for that yellow.
Yeah, that was incredible. Last year we had a catchphrase of Cadillac Racing, it was pass everybody, and today we actually accomplished that. We had a little hiccup in qualifying yesterday that, because of the red flag, we got caught out with the only car without a lap. But some awesome strategies from the team, Cadillac Racing, today to get us up front.
And Jordan, you're able to go finish that out.
Yeah, I mean, for me, we just pretty much don't screw things up. Michael, I mean, the way the race was working was he passed up to 10th place, and then once everyone pitted, he was in clear track and was banging out quick laps, which was going to get us the track position anyway, but that yellow kind of, made our strategy. And once the yellow came out, everything cycled through. We had, a minute lead, and I just basically had to cruise around for 10 minutes to take the win, and it's great to get Cadillac its first win of the year here in World Challenge.
Yeah, not too bad for these Cadillac boys. Better to be lucky sometimes than good.
Yeah,
they were both.
And I was going to say, and then when you're both, you win huge.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was you never know what you're going to see here in this championship. And again, Pat Long and Jörg Bergmeister, awfully quick today. Absolutely no question about that. But just no way you're going to overcome that margin. I mean, the official margin of victory was 46.6 seconds.
That was with Jordan cruising. So
exactly. So it's interesting now. Pat Long will obviously. We've got the race tomorrow, but then you go into Lime Rock and
Pat Long should assume the points lead tonight.
You would think, yeah,
overall
exactly.
in the championship, with the bad day for Perrin getting knocked out with Barnicoat behind the wheel.
And another really, really strong day for Safronis and Lorenz Vantour, who were close to an overall podium at VIR at one point, and here get a win in the Pro-Am category with some really good speed.
Acura had a good day. They raced
they
well.
Sure did. Nice
Didn't
to
have
see
the ultimate
that.
pace still.
So you take a look there, and yeah, we're up in 9th, the number 93, Mark Wilkins. That was a superb opening stint that he put on, and then Peter Cox got in and did exactly what was necessary to keep them up there and to bring home a top 10 finish. But pretty impressive, 8th overall for a Pro-Am category car. Well done indeed, and they're in 10th, Halen and Shine. Just great stuff. But I think when you take a look, obviously Cooper had a superb drive, But when you take a look and you think about, a drive to really remember here, I think Spencer Pumpelly is going to stand out a little bit what he did in this one.
Yeah, he run the neck of that number 4 Magnus Racing Audi. So, but tomorrow we've got sun right now. I don't think we're going to see this in the morning if the forecast is correct.
Yep, the forecast holds. As you said, we may have a little different groove on those Pirelli P0s that are going to be coming out. There is a forecast for a significant amount, not necessarily torrential, event threatening or anything, but just a day of potential rain. It could be a whole different ball game here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. So that, of course, just upsets the apple cart and makes it all the more interesting. So you're not going to want to miss that. And just to let you know, here on our global web stream, it will all start 8:30 is the scheduled start of the second of the doubleheaders for the touring car divisions. So you might want to be ready and join us about 8:20 Eastern Time tomorrow. Then right before the lunch break at 10:15, we will have round 2 here of the GTS Championship. And then at 3:40 p.m. Tomorrow afternoon will be the second of the SprintX doubleheaders here at the Pirelli World Challenge Championships at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park on the Victoria Day Speedfest weekend. We'll see you tomorrow.